Hey guys, how's it going? It's Jani here, and welcome to the video. And I'm here with Manie. I'm right now,
How's it going, guys?
and basically I've been able to track him down and get him to spend some time with us, so we can give you the steps that you can use to start selling physical products on Shopify by using the same system that Manie has developed himself to make really crazy amounts of money. And I'm going to get Manie to tell us at first some of the results he's been getting from this. And when you hear this, it's gonna blow your mind, because this is something that you can do, because it's different than other types of internet marketing. It's nothing to do with affiliate marketing, like list building, product creation. You don't have to do none of that. You can just get straight into it and actually start seeing results really fast. So mate, like, first of all, how long have you been doing selling products on Shopify?
About 8 months, pretty much. 8 months. Yeah. So it's still. It's not been a year yet, to be honest. Yeah. And it's I'm having ridiculous, ridiculous results. I mean, from the processes. I mean, it's actually mind blowing the amount of people that I speak to nowadays that ask me about, are the numbers real, basically? Can you really generate that much from?
Yeah, I mean, I'm really interested too. I wanna know how we can do this.
Everyone wants to know.
So, tell us some of the numbers you've been getting over the past month or so in some of your recent campaigns.
Well, I've just had actually my biggest campaign, which was last month of December. Predominantly, that some of you might say that might be because of the Christmas period and the buying frenzy. With the Christmas time, people buying for presents and stuff. But more importantly, I mean, it's not just down to that. I mean, you still need to find an item that there's passion in, and obviously get visitors to your product page in a nutshell. So that campaign, we did $113,000, right? It was about, I think, 14 days long. We ran the ads. Sorry, what was you saying?
113,000 in 14 days.
In 14 days, yeah, $113,000. $113,000 in 14 days. We spent $29,000 on the advertising.
So how much you spent? How much on advertising?
29,000.
29,000. So your profit was about what, like 90,000 or something?
No, the profit was about 60,000 because, right, as well as the ad spend, you gotta buy the actual, you gotta buy the item wholesale, basically. So, and we were getting it for about $5. So we're getting an item for $5, and we're selling it for $39.95, basically.
And I'm sure in a minute you're gonna break down everything to them, right?
Yeah.
But I mean, and also they might be getting scared by the big amount of money that you spent on advertising. But
yeah, that's not typical, by the way. Just
are you gonna do you think you can ask everyone how we can start by spending like as little as $10 a day on ads and stuff to start getting a good return?
Yeah, definitely.
We'll get into that in a minute.
Okay.
So that was your biggest campaign, last month, right?
That was last month, yeah.
And you can't reveal what the product was.
Definitely, I can't reveal what the product is.
Okay.
Reason being is because we are still selling it, and we've kind of we've scaled it into other niches as well. So that's the reason why I can't really reveal it.
That's cool. And I know you said that before we get into that, you said you've already taught some people. You've taken on some clients one-on-one and showed them what you're doing, and what's kind of the. I remember you were saying something about your student making I think it was 70,000 or something.
It was 54,000 pounds, because it's a Shopify stores. You can have them in any country, and the student that I was coaching, she lives in the UK, where I live, London, basically.
Okay.
So,
in US dollars, it's about 75.
US dollars, USD, it's about 77, 76.
Oh, and that was just a student, like complete newbie
newbie. She didn't even know how to put the product on the page.
Wow, I mean,
pretty much just walked her through.
Really good money in a short space of time. Wow.
Yep. Even down to the research, finding the product. I showed her basically where to look for and how to, gauge whether it's something good you can go ahead and promote and test, and then from there she went and promoted it, tested it, and then pretty much took off from there. Yeah.
Okay, so how about can you the same steps that you taught her, can you like go through it on this video
sure.
now, so everyone watching can take these steps and start using it to start finding, because I know you don't even need to have a product yourself, is it? It's such like you can find a product somewhere and then source it and then sell it, and you don't even have to physically see it, right?
Definitely.
Yeah.
There's many. The thing with with Shopify, right, is you can like you don't have to own the product. Number one. Number two, definitely do not have to. You don't need inventory, right? Yeah. So you can sell. You could be like a middle person, a middleman, should I say, or you could do drop shipping, or you could do another thing called arbitraging. Now, okay, I don't want to go too in depth with like confusing you guys, but in a nutshell, what Johnny was just trying to ask there was, do you need inventory? Do you need to actually stock some items? No, you don't. I mean, the simplest way is to pretty much drop ship. So all you need is your site, which is your store. And behind your store, you've got Shopify, so it's layered on top. Shopify is pretty much just a payment gateway, so it takes the payments predominantly, right? Yeah. So you've got your domain there, you've got your store. The moment someone decides to add to cart and go to your checkout page, Shopify steps in front and takes the payment. That's pretty much what happens in a nutshell. And with that being said, on the external outside overview look, right? You don't have to own the inventory. You can just sell it and obviously have someone else drop ship for you, basically.
Nice. All right, so cool. So how about you take us through the steps that we can start taking to making some sales and get some good results?
Okay, well, pretty much I've concised everything into like four main steps. In a nutshell, obviously I can expand on those later, but in a nutshell, to keep things nice and simple, I'm going to go through the four main steps with you guys right now, so you guys can get going, and obviously, maybe even report some of the results you can get. Right. So basically, the four steps that I was talking about, right, that you could obviously take from this video, go ahead and create your store. I'm going to go through those steps now. So for step one, right, you got to decide whether you want a niche store or you want a general store. Now, what's the difference between those two? Predominantly, a niche store would be obviously very specified. For example, like beard lovers, so people that love to grow their beards. You can have a store where you just sell items for people that love that are very passionate about treatment for their beard. So you can get beard oil treatment, beard combing, grooming kits, that kind of thing. So your whole store is predominantly selling stuff targeted for people that are very passionate about their beards. That is a niche store. A general store would be having like people that are passionate about their beards, having fan-based items as well, like for example like the Minions movie, like a Minions teddy bear, having a variation of different niches all in one, basically. So that would be a general store. So what you have to do is decide as to which way you're going to go down, because your setup needs to be, you need to take that into consideration of how you market, basically. That's the only reason why I say you have to think about that at the forefront. So once you've decided whether you're going to go for a niche or a general store, you then need to you then need to do three things. You need to buy yourself a domain, which is very simple. You can go to Namecheap or GoDaddy.com, buy yourself a domain, right? Which are about $7, right? You get a domain for about $7, $10, and then you've got to open up a Shopify store, right? There are three basic plans for a Shopify store. You've got the $29.95, and then the other two are a lot higher. They give you other benefits and stuff, but you don't need them. You only need the first basic plan, basically, in a nutshell. Once you've opened a Shopify store, then the third step is to open yourself a business account, a Facebook business account. And there's a difference between a Facebook business account and a personal profile. A personal profile, a Facebook account, will limit you on certain things that you can do. You need a business account because you need access to all of the different features which will help you with your store down the line, right? So, and how you can tell the difference between the two is because the Facebook ads account will say business manager, whereas a personal account will not say anything about a business manager once you're inside of the dashboard, right? And also you can tell the difference between, because at the top of the actual page or the browser, the strip will be blue for a personal account, whereas a business account, the strip will actually be great. So that's right. So once you've completed step number 1, you're gonna go ahead with step number 2. And predominantly what step number 2 entails is the market research side of things, right? So now we've set up our mediums of where we're going to be selling our items from step number 1. Step number 2, we're going to go and find the product, or what we're going to promote, pretty much. So the first thing you do really is to leverage on the best source where the most data is stored in regards to what people buy online, physical products wise. And the place I'm going to mention too, you've all probably been there at some point, right, which is Amazon.com. Now once you go into Amazon, you can then look for bestsellers for the first 100, depending on what item you pick, in terms of what niche you pick. Even if it's a general store, that's okay. You got a general store, you want to pick an item, you think about an audience where there could be passion in, you go and look at their bestsellers, you type that keyword in and you look at the bestsellers, right? Once you find the bestsellers, right, then the next step will be to find out how, so you pick an item within the bestsellers, within 100, right? Or even more than that. It doesn't have to be in the bestsellers. You can look outside of the bestsellers, so like from 101 down to 500, because basically Amazon, what I mean by that, Amazon lists the items in terms of their ratings and how much they're selling in a periodic order, in a nutshell. So with that being said, you can then obviously look at what has the most attention in a particular niche, right? Once you've picked an item, the next step will be then is to go and see if there's an audience on Facebook, because predominantly, right, if you haven't worked out from step 1, what we're doing, right, is we're driving traffic from Facebook here. Now, going back to the previous point I made in regards to my biggest campaign that I did, all of the traffic was from Facebook, ladies and gents. There is no confusion on what traffic sources I'm using. It's all from Facebook. Why? Because there's so much traffic from Facebook. It's the most targeted way to get your item in front of individuals that are very passionate about the particular niches you're going after. Also, it's very cheap as well. I mean, in regards to any other forms of advertising like AdSense or AdSense advertising, search engine advertising, Bing advertising, those kind of other mediums, they're very expensive. But Facebook is a lot cheaper, a lot targeted. You can really zone in on your audience. Okay, to get back to step number 2 now. So once you've found your item on Amazon.com, the next step will be to go to audience insights within your business manager, which you can then look, because obviously Facebook have all of the data for you, so you can then search in there using those keywords you used on Amazon.com to see if there's an audience that you can target, in a nutshell. So once you find that audience and you can target them, the next step is so inside of step 2, we've break it down into 3 like subheadings. So A is to find the product on Amazon, right? Another thing to look for on Amazon is to look at the reviews, what people are saying, how many reviews it's had. If it's had over 400, 800 reviews, obviously, and you read what people are saying, obviously this is a really good selling item, and it sells in itself, and you can see what the pros and cons of those items are within the actual comments. So A, look at Amazon, find the product on Amazon. B, look in Facebook audience insights and see if the audience is there, so you can target them with the ads, basically, in a nutshell. And number 3 is now to go to where for sure if people are still buying an item right now, because there are different levels. There are different levels to a particular item, as in like the growth stage. You've got the growth, you've got the launch stage, test stage, then you have the growth stage, and then you've got the maturity, and then you've got the decline, pretty much of how items, in this day and age, rotate. So you want to know if it's not something that's just seasonal. You want to know if it's not just a seasonal thing. Like, for example, during Christmas time, people would be selling Christmas items that, for example, like a pin, for a crystallized pin with a Christmas tree in it. That's only going to be sold around December, close to December time, because it's a seasonal thing, right? You can't sell that all year round, right? So with checking on this site, I'm going to recommend to you, which is watchcount.com, right? You go on watchcount.com, and you plug in that actual keyword for the actual item, and you look to see how many people are watching the item on eBay and how many people have purchased, because it shows you the past sales. And with that data, once you know that, then you're basically having more of a calculated guess for when you're promoting the product. You just don't want to just go out there and throw money at anything, right? You want to see that there are people that are still buying it right now, and there are people watching it. So we're leveraging off, another site known as eBay.com, who have, a ton of data and customers, and we're trying to see whether the item's actually selling now from the sellers that are selling it on eBay, right? Once you have that, you are now ready to take step number 3, which I'm going to go into. So after you've gone over step number 2, the next step is number 3, which is very straightforward here. After you've found the item and you have your platform, after you've gone through step number 1 and number 2, you're pretty much ready now to promote the item out to the world. You're ready to put that item in front of those potential buyers, right, in your market segment. So what the next step is to actually do is to go into your ads manager, right, and create an ad and target that audience you found for the product that you looked for, right? The best form of ads I like to run are website conversion ads, right? And basically all that does is it utilizes something known as pixels, which it sounds a little bit complicated, but in a nutshell it's actually explanatory inside of the ads manager when you're in your ads account, basically. So you run a website photo ad, and the photo ad needs to be 1200 pixel in width and 1200 pixel in length, right? So you can utilize the entire advertising space so that when people see the item in their newsfeed on their mobile, then they can obviously, it can engage them well enough to invoke the buyer intent, basically. So 1200 by 1200 website conversion photo ads are the ones that I tend to run to test things, okay? That's all you need, really. And a budget, you can start off with small with a budget as $5 a day, right?
$5 a day. Yeah?
$5 a day, yeah.
On your budget.
On your budget, so just
that's nothing really. Is it?
It's nothing. I mean, what do you spend $5 on? I know.
And I mean, like, obviously, like paid traffic compared to like free traffic. I mean, it's definitely what you want to use, because with paid you can obviously like target the buyers there that want to buy your stuff, right?
Definitely. Yeah, definitely.
It's instant as well.
It's instant. As soon as you turn on that tap for traffic, Facebook starts delivering, and you start getting people to your actual photo ad, right? What you're going to be looking for is positive comments, and you're going to be looking for what people are saying in the shares. So when the share number goes up, so every time someone shares your image, right, you click on the actual total number count. So if it's 25 shares, for example, you click on that and you read down as far as you can to see what people are saying, and you can get a good feel of like how the audience is responding to your actual product.
Right. Okay.
So with that being said, right, you run the photo ad to test, and you after a few days you then see if it's something that you want to push, and if you have sales as well. And then after a few days, if you see some consistency in the actual purchases, then you then move to the next step, which is step number 4. Okay, so after you've completed steps number 1, 2, and 3, the last step is number 4, which is tied into step number 3, but it's definitely something that needs special attention to, because this is where you predominantly make most of the money, right? Which is in the scale. Okay, so the next step is after you've run the ads and you've had some consistent sales. I mean, it doesn't even need to be like a large number of sales. You just need like 1 or 2, because remember, you're spending $5 here. So predominantly you're reaching about anywhere between 400 and 800 people a day on the daily budget spend of $5 right here. So within that 400 people you're reaching, or 500 people you're reaching a day, you're looking for at least 1 sale, right? Oh, that's all we're looking for. Once we know we have 1 sale and it's consistent over 2-3 days, I like to do 3 to 4 days basically, then we move to the next step, which is step number 4, and that involves scaling our ads. We've got to scale our ads to reach more people so that we can obviously draw in more buyers, basically, in a nutshell. And that's it with step number 4. You scale, you monitor how much you spend, monitor your ROI. I like to have ROI around the 200% mark. I mean, sometimes it depends if it drops below 200 to 150 or even 100. It depends on what I'm promoting and how how much I'm willing to keep spending in order to acquire the buyer. Because also what happens here, which you might be overlooking, is every time someone purchases, they go into your buyers list. So you're building a buyers list of people you can follow up with on the back end with tons of other stuff. I mean, there's so many different ways you can swing it on the back end, and have people come back to your store and buy even more stuff. So that's it with step number 4, really. You just you monitor, kill if it's not that good, if you're not getting the right engagement on the actual ad, looking by the comments. If you hardly have any comments after spending $20 in 3 to 4 days, and the shares are not looking promising, and you're not getting many people clicking on the actual link to visit your store, then that's a pretty much good indication that people are not they might like it sometimes, but they're not passionate enough to actually go out and purchase it. And then with that, you just kill it, move on to the next thing, and that's it in a nutshell. It's not really rocket science, to be honest.
Okay, so I got a couple of questions. So you went through the 4 steps, which was pretty good. So like someone just getting started, how would they? So after the first step, where they find a niche and then find a product. After they see a product that they feel that it's something they could sell because they've seen that it's selling well on Amazon, and then so how do they go and find that product? Like how do they go and source that product so they can actually sell it? And also then what do you think they should price the product at to make like a good margin up? What do you think the markup should be? Because they're going to buy it at like a wholesale price or whatever, or like $10 and then sell it for 20, for example, right? So if you could just kind of go through that.
All right. I kind of like overstepped that on step number 2 of market research when you find the product. So predominantly a good place to go would be Alibaba.com. And another good place where I like to look for products is AliExpress. Right, now with saying that, there's some times where you don't, especially with a newcomer that, as you said, someone starting out new, you might want to do the arbitrage method, which involves just finding the product on eBay, selling it for hire on Facebook through your store, and then just when you've so let's say you sold one item, right? You go to the supplier and the seller on eBay, right? And then you put your order in, and then you basically just give the seller instructions not to include your transaction details in the receipt, in the invoice, right? Not to include that, and also the price of the item. That's what you got to instruct them to do.
And will they do that?
Yeah, they will do that for you. They're more than happy to do it for you. They're not really interested in who you're selling it to. They're just happy to sell it for whatever they're selling it for. So you can do that and then have them drop ship. So you pay with your card, your credit card or whatever, or your payment method or PayPal, and then you get them to ship the item to your customer that's come through on Shopify store. So essentially you're paying with your card, and then you're getting the money back from Shopify when they pay out, basically, in a nutshell.
So basically, the customer pays you first for the product,
right? Yeah.
And then you've made that money, which is in Shopify, and then you need to get the product from eBay, and then get them to ship it to the customer direct.
That's it. That's one way, and that makes things a lot easier because then you're not handling inventory, you're not even doing fulfillment. The eBay seller is doing it for you, so you're just being the middle person and selling it. Right. Now, I'm going to come back to your point, Johnny, that you've asked about the price range and where you can price it. But I'm going to just say that's one way. The other way is to have, like, for example, on AliExpress, the site that I recommended before. So if you find an item on there, you can drop ship from there, but you have to be careful of the time constraints, because sometimes it takes about, it takes between 7 and 15 days from there to the actual customer, especially if you're selling in the USA, which I tend to like to do because it's the biggest market. So because obviously the item is being shipped from China to the USA. It takes a while sometimes, so you just got to make it clear. But most people are happy to wait as long as you state that on your description page. So on your product description page, always state how long the delivery process might take. People are happy to wait because of the price that you're offering it at. Okay, so with that being said, that's two ways. You've got the arbitrage method using eBay, the second method using AliExpress. Just be be aware of the time constraints of delivery, right? And now outside of that, Johnny has just asked me in regards to the price range, right? It depends. It's all a perceived value thing. For example, let's say you're selling a phone case, right? Phone case that's designed, right? A designed phone case with a particular niche design. Let's say, for example, like the Minion, earlier on I mentioned stuff about using leveraging on trademark items, basically. So if you've got a license, you could sell a Minions phone case with the Minions design on the back, right, for $19.95. It doesn't cost anywhere that much to actually make them. You can buy them from a licensed provider for less than $5 and sell it for $19.95. So that's predominantly your margins you're looking for. You're always looking for that little bit extra. So if you find an item, I've seen items sell, or I've sold items from items that cost $5. Earlier I gave you an example, $5 you sell it for 40. But it's not just anything. It depends on the perceived value. I mean, worst scenario is you can always test items at a higher price. And in Shopify has analytics that tell you how many people add to cart. So if you're seeing a ridiculously large amount of add to carts here, and you're not seeing any purchases, then there could be a disconnect in the price. So you might want to reduce the price and then run it again for the next 100 visitors to see if it's selling. That's one good way of indicating. But it's all down to you. There's no correct way of doing it. You just have to be realistic. You can't do something ridiculously out there, like sell a phone case for phone cases don't sell more than $25. I don't think I've seen any, unless it's gold plated, or it has Swarovski crystals on the actual case. Then yes, by all means, you can sell it for $80 or even more than that. The gold ones that at Harrods, for example, Harrods sell gold back plated ones. But outside of that, if you're looking at just like designer ones with like a theme on the back or something like that along those lines, then you're looking at a $15 to $25 range, that kind of thing. And you can always tell because you can look on sites and see, search on Google, find other sites where they're selling these kind of phone cases, see what retail price they're selling them at, see how much you can get it for, then work out your margins. Pretty much, that's it in a nutshell. Yeah,
it's pretty straightforward. I mean, is there like, do some of these suppliers need to order a minimum amount usually, or can you just buy it individually? Let's say you make 10 sales today. When should you place those orders? Like instantly, or should you wait till you have let's say a certain amount?
Well, what I tend to do is for especially items that we source from AliExpress, which is predominantly China, right? We have on our product page, delivery could take between 2 to 4 weeks. Now you might be thinking, well, that's a little bit long. We don't want customers waiting. We say that because we want to give ourselves as much time to fulfill. But predominantly, we put the orders in as soon as, really. I mean, sometimes it could be 2 to 3 days after, which is okay because then we can group the sales in a batch, which you really want to do. You want to group them in a batch so you can keep track of everything rather than having to pay every single day. So, I'll generally have my virtual assistant, my VA, come in and look at the orders and place them. If it's an item we're selling via the arbitrage method predominantly. So, in a nutshell, it depends. It varies. I mean, if you're doing, for example, if you're going on a t-shirt route with apparel, right, and you had a company like, I think Teespring are going to be bringing in an app. I think it's in beta mode at the moment, but they're going to be bringing an app into Shopify. Teespring is the biggest online apparel retailer online for the US market especially. They're number one. So I mean, you can plug them into your back office using the app in your store. I'm not sure if it's available yet, but it should be soon. But outside of Teespring, the other people you can go to, which I use actually quite often, is tlaunch.com, right? T-Launch will fulfill all of your shirts for you, and they'll do the print as well. And they use DTG printing, which it means you can have as many colors on there. There's a thing about having colors. I mean, with Teespring, the more colors you use, the higher the base cost is going to cost. So the cost of the actual shirt or the hoodie, for example, they do shirts, hoodies, crew neck tops, sweatshirts, that kind of thing, tank tops as well. It all depends with the colors, if you have too many colors. But with T-Launch, they have a set price. I think it's $8.50, even the sizes as well, from small all the way to 5XL. You can just basically sell the shirts and pay for the base cost through T-Launch, and T-Launch deal with everything. I mean, the moment they've printed the design and shipped it to your customer, it goes in automatically. I mean, it syncs the message straight through Shopify to your customer, letting them know their tracking number so they can track their item instantly. So there's many different ways you can do it, but those are the ways I would recommend for a newbie who's starting out to get going.
Alright guys, so I really learned a lot from that video. That was actually really, really cool. I know it wasn't that it was pretty in depth, but because we're kind of limited here, we're on a video. What we're actually going to be doing is, in a few days from now, it should say below here, I'm going to get on a webinar with Manie, where you'll be able to come on a webinar, and everything we just talked about in this video, the steps that Manie mentioned, Manie's going to be going over each step in way more detail, right? You're going to be going on the screen, he's going to be showing you how to do everything. You're going to look over our shoulder and we'll show you how you can set up a campaign to start making money by selling physical products on Shopify that you don't even own, or you never have to even see these products yourself, right? It's a foolproof system and something that you can do, any newbie can do, and we're going to be doing this webinar just for you, and the date should be below. Okay, so what you need to do now is click the link below. There should be a button or a link below where you can register for the webinar that we'll be doing. And on this webinar, it's going to be one of the best webinars you've ever been on. We're going to give you like a blueprint that you can start using to start making money, start getting sales with by selling physical products on Shopify. And this is probably like, if you've tried anything like in the past, like the normal like affiliate marketing, list building, product creation, joint ventures, all this stuff. I mean, Manie, like it took you a long time when you first got started. Maybe you want to give him a quick brief overview of like how, because I've known Manie for about 6 years now, and Manie tried to do the regular stuff that most people teach and didn't really see that much results. But as soon as he started doing Shopify, selling physical products, you started killing it, man.
Yeah, pretty much just like that. I started 2009, I think 10, starting off with affiliate marketing, and I did okay. I got a coach. I actually hired a coach as well, to coach me, to try and get me to the stage that I wanted to be. But I find it really hard because predominantly, and this is the honest truth, with affiliate marketing or internet marketing, you need the support of affiliates. If you ain't got the support of affiliates and you don't know how to use paid traffic advertising, then it doesn't really matter how good the product is that you create. You're going to struggle to actually sell it, basically, in a nutshell. Whereas with Shopify, once I got into it, in a nutshell, the moment you turn on the traffic and you connect the right product with the right audience, it's not even like magic. It's like pretty much is. You'd find it hard not selling. Basically, people will buy it. It's just the way it is. I really don't know if it's impulse buying, but it's been working for. E-commerce has been around for years, right? This is nothing new. The only thing is that most people are being introduced to the eCom way, which is to utilize Facebook ads on your store. And literally, the moment you have the traffic come in, the sales can start rolling in like that. And it's predominantly, if you think about it, it's cold traffic here we're converting. It's not like in the marketing where you have to, you build a list, right? Conventional way is to build a list, build a relationship with those people, and then try and sell to them. We are pretty much putting items in front of fresh new audiences, right, and having them come straight off Facebook onto our stores and purchase within then. And sometimes, even if they don't purchase right then and there are a few things you can do outside of that which I'll go into more on the webinar, right, of how you can bring those people back who haven't purchased, bring them back to your store, right? There's 2 different ways you can hit them. Bring them back to your store and then they purchase, and that is even actually more effective than the first way, to be honest. So you really don't want to miss that, and I hope you guys join us on this call because it's going to be jam-packed, you know, and the value is going to be crazy.
I'm really looking forward to it, and I guess we'll see you in the webinar. Just sign up using the link below, and just get ready for the webinar. Make sure you mark it down on your calendar and get ready to learn a lot of stuff. It's going to basically change your life, this webinar. Like, if you've been failing and haven't been seeing results, or even if you are seeing results, it's going to make you see some massive results this year. Okay, so sign up below now, and we'll see you in the webinar.